cool with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of made of people,
Yeah, so you go to the tavern known as the Galleon.
which is made of.
By the
human
time you
form.
get there, it's you know, it's late. There's still some people on the streets. Actually, this is one of those cities where there's very much people out in the streets. I mean, tieflings have dark vision. They don't really care about that, and there's definitely very much a nightlife, especially in the kind of area you're going to. It's something to note that when you've been traveling around, there's a lot of low-level magic kind of on show. There's little stalls where people repair clothes or wash them with just a wave of their hands, and magic words, and people doing Viric's trick of, you know, and being entertaining using illusions and things like that. Is very common. So when you go to a tavern named the Galleon, and it's not just a tavern named the Galleon, it's a tavern that is a galleon. It is a ship that seems to be suspended on kind of the edge of one of these spires. A full ship, like barnacles on the bottom and everything, and it seems to be a very impressive, beautiful vessel. You're like, huh. Well, this is kind of the only place this thing would exist suspended. I mean, I imagine in a world like this, an old boat becoming an inn is not entirely unreasonable, right? When you head in,
kind of weird so far inland, though.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
That's the main thing.
there is water down below, but how would a ship get here through the ice? When you go in, the air is full again of the smell of drink and food and people and laughter, and there's bards playing very energetic songs, and the basically you enter through the middle deck, which is just entirely like my brain. Scratch that. You enter on the top, which has a bunch of tables, a bit more finer eating. Then down below, you got people playing cards, you got bards, you got all sorts of entertainment, food, drink. It's warm, it's comfortable, it's energetic. It's probably a tavern more where you're used to, and there's space because it's a galleon. So.
Food,
I imagine
drink.
you get food, you get a table and you get food and drink. Will you also order rooms? Like in advance?
Yeah.
Sweet. 2 gold each.
Yeah.
That's for food
Oh,
and...
then the tiefling who will handle it will also say, now if one of you wants to order the captain's quarters, that will be more expensive, but there's leg room, there's a bath in the room, there's all those sorts of things.
How much?
Vieric.
4 gold.
Sounds like something an idiot would spend money on.
Four gold? Yeah, I'll take that.
Burowitz just got his... The face I'm making is the face Burowitz making. Just... Of course he is. Of course he is.
And like the key you get is like decorated and fancy and stuff, compared to everyone else's just key. And when you sit down and you get your food, like the food presented to you, you're not even asked. Like first of all, they present like a blood pie, like a full-on blood pie. That's, you know, Barut's very excited for. The rest of you are probably like a little, but it's pleasant. It's different. Once you get used to the taste of blood, it's a very versatile ingredient. Which you better get used to the taste of blood, because it's like a tiefling's favorite ingredient to add in everything.
That's not terrifying or anything. That doesn't help with the stigma.
Animal blood, but yes,
I know.
exactly right, exactly. But tieflings kind of like the stigma a little bit, so there's that kind of thing. You can have rich wine or ale, whichever you want. And your room is your table is in the corner where you can see the rest of the busy chamber, where there's, you know, people drinking and singing along to the bards who are playing very high tempo, energetic music, and there's a group of them set up on a couple of boxes performing. It's and to Barut, you know, it's a accurate environment to a ship. Kinda. It's clearly one of those things where some things have been done by people who don't actually know. So the construction of the ship is clearly it's a real ship. This would function. Some of the decorations inside are done by people who've never been in a ship, but know what a ship is like.
Are they like things that would definitely like on rocky seas fall off the walls?
Yeah,
and like
stuff
they're
like
very
that.
clearly like not secured properly. And,
The like
there's-
ropes and riggings on the mast and stuff outside would never function, and
yeah,
kind
they're
of
more
like nailed
climbers
in
rope
some
rather
places.
than, like, yeah, good, great. So yeah, so this is clearly something that the owner of the ship didn't bring it here. Is what I'm hearing.
You could even ask if where the ship came from if you wanted.
I absolutely would if
The bartender, the person serving you, and they'll say, "Oh, it was summoned."
summoned from where?
I assume a sea.
Burrow will laugh and just well, yes, that makes sense. I more was meaning from which sea, but that's completely fair.
That is not information I was trained to in my introductory course to know.
What were you trained to know in your introductory course? And Burrow pulls
Well,
out
we
his
have
pen
these wines on tap.
Burrow is actually making notes of the entire menu then if he's gonna describe the entire
It's
training.
actually a very expansive menu because this is clearly like an entertainment venue as well as a tavern, right?
Right.
This is clearly the kind of place that people with a little bit more money than sense or than normal will come and eat your drinks and
Right.
eat your drinks.
It's a novelty bar.
It is a novelty bar.
It's a novelty bar.
The bartenders have slightly piratey, sailory outfits, but not to the extent that it's unreasonable. Like, it's cartoonish, but that's clearly what they're going for. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him when it was summoned.
Oh, not actually all that long ago. 15 years ago?
15 years ago. And it's been operating like this ever since.
This whole adventure is funded by the College of Conjuration.
Just gonna note that down. College of Conjuration. Now, whereabouts is that? If I want
She
to
can
go,
actually give you an address to that. Yeah.
perfect. And I will gladly take an address to that, mostly because I'm kind of curious and also kind of like, why pirate?
People like
But,
pirates.
Well, some people like pirates. Not everybody likes pirates. Sometimes
Someone
pirates-
who's encountered pirates doesn't like pirates. Everyone else likes pirates.
Yeah, pirates can be dicks. In Burrott's experience, he's never met a pirate that he's liked.
Awesome.
Especially the ravens.
Oh gosh.
All pirates.
Just walk away from that one.
I'm actually also going to be, because Burrowit is still kind of holding on to one of the notions of their events in Thundrel. And he's going to ask, now, this is an incredible long shot, and I don't expect you to know any information on this whatsoever.
It's one of those things where the bartender comes up and has like a kind of like a clipboard, and then just kind of like holds it to their chest, like knowing they probably don't know anything.
They probably don't know
This
what
is
I'm
like a
about that.
student.
Yeah,
It's like side job.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask. This would be more of a rumor, but have you heard anything about the last Sun Elf?
No, is that a book?
No, it's a reference to the individual who may in fact be the very last Sun Elf. But
I don't know. I don't know anything about that. If you're looking for someone, College of Divination does things for a price. Find people.
interesting. And where is that? To pull the notebook back
She
out.
she doesn't really know. So
Right.
it's like a very vague direction.
Yeah. I'll take the very vague
in a
direction.
place.
That's fine. And I'll just say it's very unlikely that he traveled through here anyways. What would a Sun Elf be doing in Bastillion? But it's worth asking. Just in case.
There's literally should be like, I didn't even know there were sun elves.
Yes, no, there's many different types of elves. I'm actually not even from this continent, which some people think I am. Don't really understand that. Anyways, sorry. Thank you for your time.
They will bow and
Yeah.
head off.
I'm actually going to give them a slight tip as well before they leave.
Hey.
And I'm going to be giving them a gold piece just as a tip.
Ooh, that's a
And
big
just
tip.
for your studies and to make sure that everything goes smoothly from here on out for you as best it can.
Good times. Do you partake in any of the entertainment here? There's a little bit of dancing. There's very much card games, games of dice, games of luck.
Burwood isn't a dancer.
Tobias is gonna get drunk and dance a northern jig.
You know what?
Like
Drew's
fun.
gonna join.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good. Every campaign needs a drunken tavern dance every now and again. And you dance
Yes.
the night away. The rest of you, your rooms, when you eventually retire, mostly hungover or mostly drunk. You're not hungover yet. They're much more spacious than anywhere else. They're clearly meant to be here. They actually have a fairly good degree of comfort. Nice soft beds, chest to keep things in. Water on hand. There is a place to wash, but it's communal. Whereas Virik has his own bathtub, and Virik has like a 4-poster bed and like couches and things. Like, this is one of those things where if you were in the city, like you could like rent this room for a while and you could live like very comfortably in it. I mean, it would be expensive, but what else is the money for, right?
Drew's doing that thing where he goes and like falls on everything soft.
And also, Tesh, it's got a ceiling fan. And also, Tesh can wash. Virik can wash, because it's been a long time.
Yeah, Virik would definitely have a bath.
Yeah, exactly, right? And there's all sorts of lotions and potions to put in the bath water. Bubble bath. Which is definitely new to Virik. Awesome.
He definitely want to try it.
Next night, I don't imagine any of you drank enough to get hungover or anything. But it's one of those things, this very much isn't the kind of establishment that's very loud in the morning. Some very busy taverns are, especially for travelers. But because this is quite dense in the middle of the city, a lot of people are just taking very easy mornings. There very much is breakfast served. It's just very much more relaxed. A lot of the more louder people are already pissed off. So with that in mind, what's the aim for the day? While you enjoy a breakfast of meats and cheeses and things. Get a nice cheese.
More pocket
platter.
cheese.
So I'm
Feed a
gonna
little cheese to the dog.
take some of that cheese. Let's hold on to it. Take
Pocket cheese.
I
I'm
hate
gonna
this
wrap
is
it
a
up though.
current thing.
Like, it's not just like I'm taking some of the paper that I have around and I'm literally just wrapping it in that.
Good.
It's going in the pack though, not in a pocket, just for those of you who care.
No pocket mozzarella.
Yeah. What kind of cheese is it?
It's definitely not cheese you'd recognize. It's
Yeah.
it's very much Bastillion cheeses. Some of it's a goat's cheese, some of it is more conventional cheese.
Nice.
They're very much specific to Bastillion, types
goat's
of cheese. Some of them are clearly magically aged, doesn't taste the same, but I imagine Groot can appreciate it. in its own way.
Artificially aged cheese.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a magic city.
Yeah.
Why
makes
not?
sense. Yeah.
Can I just use Wish to age my cheese?
Yes, very much.
Oh, great. Yeah, good. Yeah, I don't know. What do we want to do today? We don't really have that much going on.
No.
You got a day to kind of like hang out.
Yeah, until this whole auction situation, I mean,
Well, do we want to scope out the area?
Did you
yeah.
want to go to the college
Yeah.
celebration? Did you want to go to the?
We could go like an hour early.
You know,
Will just
they're
tries to
interesting-
like probe as much information as possible just for, personal joy.
It's mostly for me.
Yeah.
Broid is just a vessel for me to gain as much knowledge about Jarviskjir as I
I
can.
would definitely like to take a walk around just the general area, just to get a sense of like the lay of the city, where everything is kind of and whatnot.
Yeah.
Not that I expect things are gonna go south in such a normal type situation, but always have an escape plan for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you want to go to
Yeah.
the Spire of Ash, kind of figure out
Scope
what's
out the area. We want to serve ale.
You want to serve ale.
Yeah.
And be
You
served
want to look
ale.
at the top card of your deck. And never mind. I'm playing Magic the Gathering Arena.
Okay.
So
Oh, gosh.
when you head towards the Spire of Ash, Barut eating cheeses on the way.
Feeding some to Bjorn if Tobias isn't watching.
I'm always watching, but I just pretend not to sometimes.
Yeah.
There are some designs on the when you get close. It's not like a big statue or anything on the sides of this tower that resemble, mourning angels and skeletons and things. Tasteful but quiet decorations. You come to realize that for the most part, the Spire of Ash's purpose is a I can never remember the word, but is a place where you store the ashes of dead people.
Is it
And they
crematorium?
have plaques of their names and their duties and things.
Okay.
Okay.
Look very clearly, like lower down in the tower, are people who matter less, and it's much more dense, and there's less information, and it goes a little higher and higher because there's nowhere for graves. This is just the only real way to deal with dead people, and it's very much got the for the most part, much as Spire as you can tell, and there's still buildings and homes on the sides in some places as well, but most of it has kind of the aesthetic and the feel of a graveyard or a garden or something.
Man,
There's
It's
some
like the
delicate-
tower in Lavender Town.
This is like the tower in Lavender Town. Play spooky music. And the other people you see are clearly people attending the place who are mostly wearing white and black and things, or you see groups of people who are wearing. You see a lot of people in a similar uniform, which, if I remember correctly, is a white one. And you, for the most part, there's not many other people around. Other people around. There's not like a lot of people like crying beside things, but clearly people, going to respect a lost family member or something. Although Barut knows that family isn't as important to tieflings as friendships are. So, when you that's kind of the spire itself. The manor on the top, of course, is very different. When it comes to these spires, the tops of the towers where you can really build a proper structure are very different. When you get high enough up, there are some large buildings to the side. Some of them appear to be large shops. There's a large jewelry shop, for example. But the actual manor itself is locked away behind a gate when you get to a place where you can enter, and you actually there is a bodyguard kind of individual standing there. Doesn't appear to have a weapon or anything. He's just kind of standing and will like say hello to you when you come up, and he'll actually say, "It's like, if you're here for the auction, it doesn't start for 8 hours."
Does he actually look at a watch?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Very interested in that, just from but Burwood's gonna say we are absolutely here for the auction, but we also actually just had a couple of questions first before we thought we'd stop by and say hello beforehand, if that's all right with you.
He'll kind of like adjust himself, and nod. This guy is clearly like on guard, but he's not really wearing armor or anything like that. He's wearing what you'd imagine is like kind of like a servant clothes, probably to yell at if something bad happens,
Right.
more than anything. But he'll nod, like, yeah. Is it your first time going to one of these auctions?
It is, yes, and we're really looking for general information on what these auctions are about.
Von Bastillion is a collector of relics and ancient artifacts from all over the world, from all ages. He studies these and allows, during these auctions, to go through parts of his collection that he wants you, that he is no longer interested in, so that they can be passed down to other people who are interested in, so that he can also collect more, as he has agents collecting all over the world. A true historian and a influential member of the city.
Excellent. Now, what do you think of this?
A lot of people in fancy clothes spending a lot of money on things that kind of been dug up somewhere.
Well,
I'm
it'll
gonna
be
nod.
interesting at the very least.
Like, yeah.
And what do you think of the patron?
Oh, Von Bastillion is a very good boss to have. He's actually really, I wouldn't say nice, but he pays us a very good wage to be servants here. No, you hear bad stories about other people who have to work for, higher ups and spire kings and things, but no, he's actually a very good boss.
Glad to hear that. Now, more
Bit
what
weird.
I meant by what.
He'll kind of like shuffle a bit. But I mean, there's other stories some other people will tell you.
Oh, what kind of stories?
I mean, I shouldn't have said that.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, and absolutely, if you'd rather not, that's no problem. It's more, I have a very curious mind, and I just like to know things. It's for my own personal knowledge. I wouldn't go spreading them around.
Give me a persuasion roll. Oh, he steps up and leans in a little and says, there's a lot of rumors. Sometimes, he's a pleasant man, and he hosts these and it's high society, but sometimes there's talk of, sometimes there's a little bit of screaming in the house, just a little bit. There's rumors that he has desires that are unconventional, and by all records, he pays the women and men he hires very well, and that's it. And also that he's very old. I mean, he's what do you call him? A half-blooded elf or something? But he's been here longer than any of us.
Do you know which type of elf he's half-blooded with?
I didn't know there were types of elves.
Huh. Pardon me. There are. If you're interested, I'd be happy to tell you about it, but it's really not important. We're all just
I'm
the
sure
same.
if you...
Pruitt says, turning to Tobias a little bit.
If you're at this auction, you might be able to ask him himself. He's a brilliant speaker.
I look forward to hearing him speak. And thank you very much. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I do appreciate your candor. And what's your name?
They're just rumors. Oh, well, my name is Tyrion.
Tyrion, my name is Burwitt. It is very nice to meet you. Thank you very much for your time and for the information.
He'll kind of shake your hand, a little surprised that you were offering it.
Yeah, well,
I saw you do a little handshake jiggle there.
I absolutely did. Sorry, you can see the shoulder move? You know what's up.
I gotcha. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Another thing that you notice, because you're kind of right up against the gate, there's a bit of a garden out there. The garden is like a little... You actually see gardeners tending the garden, clearly trying to make it look nicer. It's a little overgrown, a little, twisted. You actually see quite... more plants here than they has any right to be, but of course, magic. Anyway, that's that. I imagine you start toddling off down the steps.
I'm gonna go partway away, far enough that he can't hear us anymore. I'm just gonna say, unconventional tastes. Concerning.
Yes, very much so.
What's your definition of unconventional tastes? Because I imagine mine are quite different.
Not screams that can be heard from your castle from a distance away.
He worked there. He said in the castle you can hear the screams.
I mean,
not outside.
Still not that.
No.
Yeah, still not that.
No.
The guy's a sex pervert, but that doesn't make him a criminal.
Tobias.
Write that on my grave. Oh, god damn it.
Yeah. Would this be anything I've dealt with before with other slaves going missing or?
Oh, absolutely. You're a drow. Drow are the horniest of all. You have a faith that's pretty much like femdom is your religion. very much slaves go missing and or return very brutalized and scarred.
Figured
Pretty
as
much what you were trained for. Like, eventually you were probably gonna be
that's the reason
killed
why
by,
all the
like, a
scars-
mistress, you know?
I have a bit of an idea.
Is there something we don't know about you, Virik?
Not like that. No. Well, slaves especially male slaves in Drow culture, well, they went missing every now and then, and some of them came back a little more worse for wear.
Yeah, slaves, right? He said that he paid them. Which...
Yeah, but he also dabbles in magic, and how difficult is it to erase memories?
Yeah, that's
The issue also is, what about the ones that he doesn't pay because they don't make it out?
And also, it's a very different thing to pay your servants and to pay the people you're sleeping with. Or doing other deviant things with. Not saying that it's any worse, it's more just that it's an entirely different thing.
right. But I mean, as long as they're all consenting adults, then that's fine.
Precisely.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
jump
Yeah.
to accusations of...
As long as they know what's happening when they go in.
But I mean, the suspicion is fair. I'm not saying that it's not worth something like thinking about, but
Well, hopefully we won't have to think about it at all.
Anything aside from him being a sex pervert.
I really like the idea that Tobias doesn't really know what to call somebody
No,
who's
that's
like
totally
a little...
fine.
Like, it's
Sex
just sex pervert, you know. The totally normal terminology that I definitely didn't just make up right now to try and, you know,
It's
explain
a
away this
descriptive
thing.
term. It says exactly
is.
what he needs to say.
It is.
Exactly.
Yep.
The word deviant isn't in Tobias's vocabulary.
Yes. But I just really like that. So Burrow would kind of keep walking down and would just say, well, hopefully we won't have to deal with it at all. It's something that is really none of our business, unless he's doing something horrible, in which case it kind of becomes our business. But again, you know, more what I'm concerned about, to be perfectly honest, is that this man is digging up things and claiming they're relics. They could very well not be, and if he's a good speaker, he could be convincing people that these things are things that they are not. It could be that they absolutely are, but
We'll have to find out.
yes, I suppose so.
Yeah. I mean, if he says that there's something and the people think there's something, then they mean something to the people. It's not that bad.
And he's been doing this
Says
for quite a
the
while.
thief.
If he's done this before and he's made a habit of it, I think it would have come out by now that he was the fraud.
Absolutely, and that's why I'm just slightly concerned
Especially
with...
in a place like this, like these people seem pretty magic savvy. Like magic is like...
I'm
That's a
not
good point,
saying
yeah.
that an object couldn't be magical. I'm just simply saying that he may be presenting it as something that it's not.
Well, every salesman does that.
And that's
Ask
the kind of
every-
thing that bothers
ask
me.
every blacksmith in Slate Cove if their work is the best, and they're going to tell you it's the best. They can't all be the best. That's just business.
I just wish it wasn't the way of the world. That's all.
Oh,
It's
so
just
I'm the
impressive.
4th best blacksmith in the city.
I am vastly superior to all of my peers, but
Or, you know, I am trained specifically in this thing that I'm quite good at. You don't have to compare yourself to other people in any regard. That's more what I
they
mean.
will because they're very competitive.
Yes. Again, I just would rather that wasn't the way of the world. That's all.
Yeah, well,
I.
we are.
It is what it is. And Burrow will keep walking.
All right. Anything else you guys want to do before the evening entertainment?
No.
We're just kind of like potter around, taking a bit of the city, eat a little, you know,
Get some more street meat for sure.
get some more street meat.
Yeah.
Trying to experience the culture as much as possible, taking notes.
Actually, gonna at one point, if we get to like a place where there's food being prepared, just ask around about eating remoras, because like we don't
People
know
are
for
horrified
sure.
at the
but just,
idea.
like, You're not supposed to eat that? Like,
You killed one
just to see. Because
and ate it?
and survived, which apparently is a feat in and of itself. I'm mostly just asking if we were poisoned because there's something you're supposed to do to it. Like lobster, for example, because you can eat lobster, but you have to cook it like alive. Versus if there's something else you're supposed to do, like if there's a reason why.
No
There are certain
one in a
toxins that can
random
really-
street meat salesman knows how to cook remoras.
Well, these are all salesmen. Was
That's
anyone trying
fair.
to pretend like they were selling remoras meat?
No.
You sure?
No.
Okay.
There's definitely a lot of weird stuff, but
yeah.
no.
All right.
At any point, is there a rook that's like stopped somewhere that I could climb up next to them?
Yes, actually, occasionally rooks. There's actually a rook like in the area you're going to. They're buying street meat. You see one of them who's kind of like asking some people things. Now, rooks are kind of the highest tier of law enforcement in the city. They're basically vigilantes that work for the city and have all these brilliant strategies. They have like the masks that cover the top half of their head, leather armor, leather hoods. This whole aesthetic of this very Bastillion. If you wanted to go and talk to them, you absolutely could.
Specifically, I'm looking for one that is at least like up a bit so I can climb up to
It is exceedingly rare to see more than one.
Damn. Okay, so there's just the one on the
It's
ground.
just the one guy, yeah.
Okay, now I'll leave it for now then. Varric has a plan of how he wants to approach this.
Okay.
Oh
Fine.
no.
Yeah,
Oh
I
no.
know, right?
It's danger.
No, it's not that. If Brute asked what he was planning to do, and he would say,
Burwood doesn't know what you're doing, so
No.
no. But if Burwood sees this guy, Burwood might go up to him. But that's only if I see him.
Yeah, no, you would, because you're kind of looking around, taking everything in.
Cool. Yeah, I'd go up to him. Is he? He's talking to people right now, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd wait till he was done.
And then he would immediately turn around to you, because you're kind of looking at the back of his head while he's talking to someone else.
Yes.
Be like, what is it you need? Is there a crime you're trying to report here?
No, I had a question for you. New to the city. Work for the Grey Fist.
You want an autograph, right?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, I don't want to be rude. More what I'm wondering is that mechanism you use to go between buildings. How do you do that?
It's called a bow.
Oh, you use your bow. Excellent. So I didn't see the exact function.
He'll
of what
actually
you were doing.
take his bow off his back.
Yeah.
It was folded and like,
Right.
do like a compound bow. And I'll actually knock an arrow, and you can see there's a rope that runs from the arrow, and it kind of floats in the air and goes into a pocket that is glowing, and there's no room for rope in that pocket. And
Right.
it's like infinite rope, infinite arrows. Allows us to. It's not the kind of thing any old person can go and use. Even elves who know how to use a bow can't just go ahead and start swinging. With
certainly not for me that I'm asking. I'm very curious, and I assume Varric is beside me-ish now.
I would be now. If you went
Yeah.
up to him and started asking me that, I would definitely be out looking at it like,
Yeah. And I just put my hand on his head because he's clearly like digging. This is my friend who is actually very talented at climbing and jumping. And what else is it that you do? I
mean, I can jump really friggin' far. I climb well. I can do tricks and flips and stuff. It sounds worse than it is, but it's
Oh no, I'm sure
so-
you're very talented.
more what we're wondering is how do you come about something like that?
Well, you'd have to be trained as a rook. It is
Interesting.
possible. You don't have to be a
we
local
could
to the
say-
city, although being a local would mean you'd have the information that you need to do so.
Saying that, Varric is actually going to go and do the whole head tilt and then jump as high as he can, doing
So,
as many
okay.
flips as he can while he
The
does
jump
it.
distance is double.
Yep.
What's the jump mechanics in D&D 5e?
That's a good question.
I can never remember.
I know, right? I always have to figure it out. There's a jump calculator. What's your strength score, Varric?
My strength score is 11.
So with a strength score of
Oh.
11,
Yeah.
your high jump is 3 feet off the ground. So you jump 6 feet off the ground with no running start. it's just 3 feet off the ground. With a running start, it's 6 feet off the ground. Which, I mean, still is a very high jump.
Well, I mean, are you just
Yeah.
jumping straight off the ground, or are you gonna like run and do something cool?
You know what? I'm gonna run and do something cool.
Give me an
Just-
acrobatics check. Come on, you're not gonna get away with that easy.
Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding me! It was so close. Oh well.
You
I
cast this. You feel sort of the shadows in your body grow,
tried.
making you grow stronger. You take a bit of a run up. You do a jump. As you're jumping, you see a pigeon flying towards you, and you're like, "Oh shit!" You try and get out the way, and just end up collapsing. And it's not one of those things that hurts. It hurts your ego more than anything else.
Yeah.
The rook kind of like looks at this all, kind of adjusts his little masquerade mask, and is like, you know, maybe you could.
He needs to work on the landing.
Maybe if he
Absolutely.
practices more, he'll be able to go to the academy. Anyway, I've got much more important things to do. We'll swing off,
Rick's just laying on the ground, just like.
and you just see him go like past you.
I'll come over and offer Virik like an arm to get up. Yeah, it's very much just like you'll
Damn it.
do it next time.
Goddamn pigeon! Like, I wouldn't even know what a pigeon is. Goddamn.
There's a lot of pigeons in this city.
That flying rat.
Yeah, yeah. Goddamn fucking flying thing. With the
Well, there's
birds
also
and-
flying rats in
angry.
the city, so.
Yeah, they're called rooks. Okay.
Ho! All right, and with that, you kind of, lots of chilling, lots of going around trying different foods and things, and Barut asking little vendors like, "Well, how do you do that? What is this? What is the magic behind this? That sort of thing." Would you actually go to any of the? There's very much a thing in Bastillion of street preachers. Would you talk to any of them?
Yep.
Give me a religion.
Sorry, that was a very like yes, sir. I would do this.
That was a
thing
fine
you were
response.
asking me.
That's a very valid point you make in chat. If you fastball skip special Aeonor throwing Virik, that's actually like a pretty efficient technique. Usually it's done with like a gnome or a halfling or something, but honestly it would probably work pretty well.
That would be pretty cool.
So when you go
Shield.
around,
Oh, you don't have a shield. Sword.
you very much recognize the preachings of people to the Eternal Guide. And you already knew that is the core religion in Bastillion. Something you also knew, which almost goes against that, is that Bastillion is a very religiously free city. There is no citywide religion. It's just that a lot of tieflings resonate with the path of the Eternal Guide in a very definite way. You very much do see other faiths while you're walking around and street preachers, but none of them you recognize, and none of them is always too busy to like go up and really ask or anything like that. But it's definitely something you will probably consciously try and go and move on later, especially if you can find like a church or something to some of these faiths.
Yeah.
Awesome. With that, shenanigans, non-shenanigans, street meet, day turns to night, and you ready yourself for the evening. Are you just gonna stroll on up there?
I might actually take some time to find somewhere to do the disguise kit to make myself look like a brute.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm
And then
assuming
you
you're
just
not
go-
like matching my scars. You're just matching my
No,
skin.
no.
It's what you did before,
to-
where it kind of makes you look like a brother. Like a
Yeah.
little
Yeah,
brother.
yeah.
Cool.
And then putting back on the mask and everything again, just to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a precaution.
When you get up to the Vombast and his mansion, it's clear that you're underdressed. Even going up to like the courtyard outside, the couple of people you see outside are dressed in finery. When you would go up,
Venturing gear is always in fashion.
it's true to a degree.
The thing is, like, my scale mail looks even less impressive
because
now
there's a big
because of
hole
the
in the middle
golden-
right now. Yeah.
Well, there's like there's three sections that have holes in it
Yeah.
now because like it's like down the face of the stag that it like
Exactly.
it's
Flipping
but like
together.
even more so there's just not a golden stag on my chest anymore. That was kind of making my armor look fancier.
Yeah.
now I look very much just like
You guys look like a bunch of adventurer hobos.
You know
don't
what's funny? I actually do have like a set of like nobleware clothing.
I have fine clothes as
But
well.
I imagine it's like northern nobleware. It's like a
It's
fancy,
northern
like,
nobleware clothing, but it would still be. It would be more appropriate than what you're
Better.
currently wearing.
Yeah, I'd wear my nice cloak.
Yeah, exactly. Like a nice Ned Stark cloak. Slightly like parts of your armor you could take off so it looks a little more fancy, that sort of thing. Yeah, awesome. So at least you look good.
I might actually like go find somewhere to get changed into my fine clothes then if it's like that.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got fine
With
clothes,
the-
wear them.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna keep the mask though.
Yes, your fine clothes are very much designed to your mask. It actually, your mask fits better with the fine clothes. It's kind of a whole like slightly costumey, overly costumey outfit, which fits perfectly in a bunch of tieflings.
and I'm gonna keep wearing my armor.
Yes. When you go in, you go get the invitation. They look at it a little confused because there's a bunch of you and they have no idea who you are, but you're allowed in, absolutely. And when you go through the courtyard, which has been cleaned up quite a bit, and you go inside the mansion, you go into open spaces where very clearly what's going on is basically a showroom of all the things that are going to be auctioned off later on in the evening. The tieflings that you see there, well, it's not just tieflings. It actually, it's very interesting. When you get to like the high society of this city, a lot of them aren't tieflings. There's very clearly representatives from most, if not all, of the colleges of magic and many other organizations in the city, as well as seemingly a couple of rooks, maybe some other high-class adventurers. There's quite a lot of fancy people here with fine clothing and chatting and drinking wine and things. And there's actually sparkling wine that you'd each, like when you come in, like one of the servants will come over with like a platter that you can each take a flute from and a drink. Probably the first time most of you had a sparkling wine, aside from maybe Barut and Virik. It's a very elvish sort of thing.
I might not have had it though.
And you can start looking at the various things that are going to be sold. The indoor of the mansion is very open spaces. Inside there are a lot of plants. There are a lot of plants and things that there's gardeners right now constantly trying to keep them trimmed and pruned and things to make them look as best as possible. Lots of crowds of individuals, paintings on the walls. The things that are being sold off are very clearly, presented, usually in a glass box on a table or on a plinth or something. So anyone who's interested in looking around them, give me a perception or investigation check. I'll allow either.
You know what? I kind of want to help Brute do this.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And yeah, I specifically would be looking for things that look like they're in better condition than they should be.
Should I roll with advantage then, or just... Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually something you split off into your buddy system. I don't know. It's not just a bunch of tat. It's actually a quite nice suit of armor, but it's like kind of like lithe and sleek and doesn't look that protective, even if it like who gives a shit. And Tobias has probably a similar point of view. He's like, there's a painting. There's like a weird stone, like stuff like that. But Barut, this is. Very quickly you come to the realization that either these are fake. Guy is great at writing stories because a lot of them have like a story behind them and you go over them. I mean, that suit of armor, that is a moon elf suit of armor, vintage from the Age of Giants. There is half plate as well, made of quicksilver, which you've only heard stories of. There is paintings of old kings. There is actually a painting of one of the early emperors of Goldport and stuff like that. One of the high ticket items is something that is referred to as the key of Bastillion. That is referred to as one of the relics of Bastillion that's meant to date back over 2,000 years and is quite literally like a fairly large key. It's quite old and rusty or something, but it's a thing. That's probably one of the ones you're like, it's just a big key. It might be linked to something, but it's a big key. One of the other ones that Barut maybe is like it's just a thing. Is a little totem of kind of like a wooden bird man kind of thing. But when you go up to it, and Virik kind of looks with his hands and his face, and kind of goes up to the glass box, it wiggles. And you step away, and then I imagine you'd step back, and it wiggles again even more. Yeah. You actually see slight runes on it, though in language you don't recognize, glow very dark.
Bert, this thing. I want to back away, and I'm going to get close again.
It does it again.
Huh.
What? Where's the... I'm going to look for, like, wherever, like, the story of this thing is.
It's referred to as an umbral totem from the Shadowfell.
Okay. Isn't that the place that Aelinor said that I get, like, the smoky stuff from?
Yep.
And also, additionally on it, it says, while aesthetically pleasing, this item is ostentatiously useless. With no magical properties or abilities. And yet, it's clearly doing a little wiggle and a glow.
Oh, I shouldn't have done that with advantage.
You naughty boy!
My bad. Let me fix that.
I mean, this is one of those things you didn't really need a 24, because you very much... It's very obvious to you that this is tied to the source of Virik's power. Probably the same power source, right? Being an umbral magic. Something containing umbral magic of some sort. And Virik, very clearly now, considering there's evidence, having umbral magic of the Shadowfell inside him. We described off camera that he's essentially got powers similar in a way to a sorcerer, right? That's just in him somehow.
But that's more what I was looking for. Was does it connect to?
And it seems to be reacting to the fact that he has the same magic. So while it says it's magically useless, it clearly has something it can do. But only he can do it, or someone with his powers.
Verge could just like step away from the case and look around to see if anyone saw it moving, and gonna try and make sure no one sees that it does that. Anything other than it saying it's just functionally useless.
When you also feel something else, Brute, while you're kind of like focusing your senses, you kind of smell something very strange coming from outside, because all the doors to this building are open, but it's heated in such a way that you can actually feel the flow of cold air in and out, and it's kind of pleasing in a weird way. But you smell the scent of Zalstella and the deserts sort of blow in from outside, only a little bit, just a little waft, just catches your nose.
You said from outside.
From outside? Yeah, it's one of those things where there's like a big, several doors outside. It's like mostly this is in one sort of like ring of the castle, right? But you can very clearly figure out which door it is, where you can.
Yeah, that's what I want to know is which door it came from, and then I want to look and see what's happening in that direction.
You can give me a perception check, sir.
I will do so. Probably, if I can find the button.
You can do it, but it might not be good.
It was not good.
It's one of those things where there's a lot of people. And you can't see outside from where you are, because that's kind of like a large group of people are currently coming in from somewhere. So you don't see anything strange, really.
I think I smelled my home?
Wait, what?
Sorry, separate to this object. First things first, it's definitely the same type of magic. I mean, that's as much as it's obvious, but it seems like it's only activated by someone who is able to do the same things or use the same magic. So, I mean, To be perfectly honest with you, I don't necessarily know that we'll be able to afford the bid, but you may want to consider it.
Yes. Yes.
Excuse me for a moment, though. I'm gonna walk towards the door, and I'm not really gonna be saying too much. I seem off.
Yeah, like distracted. It's while you start walking that you hear a voice boom out clearly with the magic of thaumaturgy. It's like, the auction will begin now in the showroom floor, and the crowd of people is kind of pushing you the other way.
Yeah.
Do you turn around or do you keep kind of going?
I keep going.
Cool. What do you do, Viri? Yeah.
Yeah, he's just you know, he's like the auction will be loud, right? But crap. I'm gonna stay within sight, so I can watch him, but try and be close enough that I can hear when a certain item goes on sale.
If I could make a suggestion, you could tell the other party members to bid on that for you.
Yeah, you can see them right now. Like, I imagine you see them
go
going
check
like...
after
Yeah, you know what? I will actually do that.
You'll dash over and be like, buy that for me.
Totem thing, the umbral totem. I need it. I can tell you why afterwards. It's complicated, but it's to do with the shadowy. And then I'm just going to hand over 486 gold.
just hand body.
You got it, buddy.
Thank you.
And you
because something weird's happening, and I'm going to go
and you rush off.
Well, that's weird. The auction's happening.
I thought they would be really into this.
Me too.
And with that, we're going to take a quick 5 or so minute break and be back afterwards, because that's how it works.
Is it now?
Yeah, we only done it like 6,000 times.